is looking at the natural environment. You know, we came here, you know, there's all the stories. We came here and there were native people that lived here and we kind of took over, right? It's not quite how we learned it in grade school, but, and you don't sit Indian style anymore, you sit crisscross applesauce. Anybody have grandkids know that? You know, same kind of thing is we also came here and we changed the natural environment. And the federal government a while ago put something in place to try to help, you know, with the impact of construction and building. But it speaks to that too, the natural environment. Yeah, go ahead.
I live in Sleepy Hollow, right behind Woody's uses, the public shopping center.
Right.
To my knowledge, when you pave over the ground, that water has to be directed into drains.
Because it's down pervious.
Okay. And so when you do that, the city will charge you a fee per parking space, per acre or something to remove that water for you.
The drainage fee.
The drainage portion.
Yes.
Am I correct in this right now? You guys know the terminology?
We have a $99, possibly going up to $100 next year for one ERU, which is equivalency residential unit, correct? Which pays for capital operating and maintenance for the stormwater system.
Okay, so my point is, I was told, and I don't have the facts or knowledge, and we'll find it, but maybe the city lawyer can pick this up, that the public shopping center, when it was put in years ago, was grandfathered in and does not have to pay a dime for all that runoff. So how do we get this ungrandfathered clause? How do we get it out of there, start charging them, and then that funding can go towards helping the city with the drainage issues?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that specific question or the grandfathering. I do know that.
I'm just asking to put it up on the board
Yeah.
as an idea to have the city lawyer look into it.
Good idea.
And if the city lawyer wants a totally ignorant person as far as this goes, I'll assist him. I retired.
Review grandfather drainage clause issues.
Yes.
Go ahead and she can write down while I'm writing this.
Hi, Alan. Diane Gardner, 618 Bruce
Okay,
Street.
nice to meet you, or see you again.
Yes. Okay, what I guess I find distressing about this whole process that I'm seeing tonight is these areas that we're talking about that have flooded, this is not new data that you're getting here tonight. There should certainly, the city should have archival information on this. I've lived in my home since 1979 on Ruth Street. We are at ground central for flooding. My home, our neighborhood has flooded in 1994, 2004, 2009, and 2014. There was a project, a flood mitigation project that was done in our neighborhood. We were promised that this would stop the flooding. Our neighborhood was torn up for an entire year. Properties were purchased, retention ponds were built, and then of course we all know there was a berm that was deleted. We woke up, you know, on September 24th, and the neighborhood had flooded after we were given assurances. I really, and I don't mean to be rude, but I have zero confidence in the city's ability to create something that will work, and that they would be honest with us as to really what's going on. When the Halifax Canal overtops its bank, Dunlop's got to flood, my neighborhood's going to flood, and Dunlop's going to close, and that's an evac route. Not just for Port Orange, but for all the barrier islands. So I want some honesty. You know, Ken Parker, when he was here, to his credit, I mean, you know, Ken and I had many discussions when the neighborhood flooded in 2009. He said, I'm going to get this fixed. I'm going to get some federal bucks, and we're going to get this fixed. So with this gentleman down here in Sleepy Hollow, I find it disingenuous that we're having this. We're doing little white paper things up there, and we're writing down things. These are things you must know. You should know, for God's sakes. Well, so I'd like to have someone speak to this, because I will not be moving from my neighborhood. My 94-year-old mom lives with us. We put a huge addition on our home that cost us $150,000. We built it to code, and yet it continues. And we have a lot of elderly people in our neighborhood. They can't move. I'm not going to move my mom. I don't want to have my home purchased and bulldozed. So I guess you know, like I said, not trying to be confrontive, but this has been a real frustrating situation, and this particular, the flood mitigation project for us was just very, very disappointing, to say it the least, and like I said, I felt like we were misled.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I can definitely sympathize or empathize with people that have gone through a flooding issue or fire. These things are very similar. You have stuff, your personal property, God forbid, life and limb. It's a very emotional and very hard thing to have to go through. Unfortunately, you know, the reason we're calling it mitigation is because we will never, ever prevent flooding, ever. It will happen regardless of what we do, no matter how many billions of, if we were our own country and had billions of dollars, it would probably still flood again unless we could raise our entire thing up. And even then, things would flood because somebody's pipe would burst and would flood their house. And as somebody said before, you know, when it rains a certain amount, no matter how much mitigation you have in place, if it rains a certain amount in a certain period of time, no matter what systems pretty much you have in place, especially in coastal area, especially if it's kind of a perfect storm where it's high tide and stuff's coming in and you can't put water on top of water, it's going to flood. Having said that, the importance of having these things and actually having them continually is because, let's say we do the most amazing master plan we've ever thought of and everybody loves it, it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you come and you're like, you know what, I like this plan, it's great, it's going to save us all, we're all going to live second lives here. The next day, that plan is not going to be as good as it was the day it was written. Why is that? Because weather conditions change, because topographical maps change, because our construction changes. We may have it developed, like right now, maybe there's a wetland area, and we get credits, and we can move this stuff around, move the wetland over here, and now everything's different. Well, the plan that you had 5 years ago no longer counts. So you always need to continually update. The second thing is, even if we have the best plan and none of that stuff happens, I'll tell you one thing that we found that was really interesting. I don't know if it was Sleepy Hollow. I think it might have been Sleepy Hollow. There was a problem with the drain backing up. We didn't know why. We thought, you know, we had cleaned it not too long ago. The drain was backing up. And Public Works went in and they slipped in like a little video camera. It's really cool if you get a chance to see these like the videos that they do. Somebody had done construction in the area, probably a pool, and whoever had done the construction, whether it was the individual or the contractor, had poured the concrete down the drain. And so these are the type of things that it's against the law, it's against the code. Sometimes it happens, and if we don't constantly check, you know, we're not going to think that there's a problem because we assume, unless we find something's going wrong, that hopefully everybody's following the rules and regulations they're supposed to follow. Obviously not, and if we caught the person who would do it, there would obviously be an issue that legally that they'd have to work out. But these are the type of things that continually happen time and time again. And if you don't stay on top of it and you don't continually monitor it and don't continually get information from the data points that you need, something's going to get messed up. And then we're going to be right back here, just like you said, 5 years later saying, we worked on this 5 years ago. It's the worst thing we've ever thought. It was great then, but now it's horrible. And you're right. You're absolutely right. But that's also the reason that we need to continually grab this information from the sources available to us, including the residents. Go ahead.
I think, like Sleepy Hollow and the lady that just spoke, and ourselves too, we've had this issue for many years. And Mike, and they have come out with engineers, and they have come up with ideas, and I mean, we even hired Peter Deaton to try and get this resolved. It's been that many years that it's been going on. And we were told that it would be taken care of. But then we get the frustration of, well, we know how we can fix it, but we don't have the money. And so, I'm sorry, you'll have flooding, and you know, we're sitting there going, okay, even Mike said, the next time you call me, I'll bring a pump over for you. That's, like I said, we're just one individual, and I do feel sorry for all the rest of them, but this has been going on for probably 15 years with us, and we have gone through every step with the city, and they have agreed that they caused the problem, and they would take care of the problem when they get the money. And I feel bad for the city, but I also feel bad for us too, because now our blocks on our houses are
not just the money's a big issue, and it's not just the money, it's the emotional drain of having to go through it again and again and again, and being told something, and then nothing happens.
Well,
And it's really
and
frustrating.
we appreciate them. I mean, like I said, the engineers have been out, everybody has said yes, but then you sit there.
Yeah. It is a reality that stuff, a lot of, 99% of the time, it's follow money. Where do the dollars come from? Do we have the money to do it? The other issue is not just how much money are we getting in tax dollars, but it's also how we're spending that money. And we're all the time looking at efficiencies and effectiveness. You know, do we have the right people in the right place? Do we have the right expertise on board? Do we have the right, as the city manager likes to say, the right people in the right seat on the right bus? But you know, there's only so much you can do with efficiencies. When you're talking about a scale of, I mean, let's say we have a master plan done, and they come back and they say, all right, well, it's going to cost you, I don't know, $30, $40 million, $7, $10 million, whatever it is, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out numbers. Now we've got to find the money. If we do an efficiency and save $100,000, well, I can't even get that first income. And I don't remember how much your budget is for stormwater total. But a lot of it obviously goes to day-to-day maintenance operations, and it's those large-scale items that will help fix those things. Sometimes the day-to-day maintenance operations, like clearing out the ditches and clearing out the swales, and fixing those things. I think when I talked to Branford a long time ago, he said, you know, we've got the swales, but you know, we haven't maintained them very well in a long time, so they're kind of flat. We need to redo them so that the water flows correctly. And so that's one of the major things we're doing.
I do want to say, everybody that has come out, the engineers, Mike, everybody, have been great. I mean, I'm not complaining about the city, and they've tried to help us. They just, like I said, they get to that point and they say, okay, we know, but our hands are tied.
Well, the other, let me get some more questions before I go on with that. I think you had your hand up first, but go ahead. Then we'll go here, and then we'll go to the Salt Lake.
I'm probably in a different situation than most of you. I'm from the Oak Brook subdivision, I'm on board there. And our situation is the sidewalk flooding that goes on Yorktown, between Dorsier and Schoolhouse Road. And every time it rains, people are talking an inch or so, that road is flooded. And it is forcing the kids that go to Horizon Elementary to walk on Yorktown. Yorktown's gotten busier and busier over these years. It's now the BJ's open up and all this. And I see these school kids walking out there. I have done Citizen Connection. Yes, I have done. It's still happening.
Yeah, I'm
And
getting excited while you are talking, but finish, we have that, in next year's budget,
the last one I got said you guys don't have the money. And I keep hearing, when I think a child gets hurt, you're gonna suddenly find out.
I came over there with my staff, we took a look at it, and it's a very serious business.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a safety issue, seriously. I think whoever built the sidewalk was put in there.
Well, this
Like a
actually
bug,
happened,
right?
the sidewalk between Bourbon and Dorsier have the same issue. We've been there 9 years. And the city fixed that, but they failed to fix the second section between Dorsier and the school.
We've identified that in the fiscal year 2017 budget, which starts October.
So 2 years, 2 more years?
No, 17.
17,
Yeah,
okay.
it starts, our fiscal year starts October 1st, 2016.
Oh, okay.
So it's in the budget, and until, there's a final approval by the council, we wouldn't know whether, funding will be available to do it. So, it's in the budget, we made the
Well,
request.
I haven't heard that. Like I said, I've been doing the Citizen Connect for 2 years, and it's all in open case.
Yes, we took a look at it, it needs to be redesigned, and so the funding we are trying to get the funding in next year's budget.
So I do want to go write that down anyway, and have it on the list. So you said it's the
It's Yorktown between Dorsier and Schoolhouse Road.
sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Horizon Elementary School.
Yes.
One more thing. okay?
Oh, yeah, I was doing.
These folks that live on Ruth, they've been having problems for a long time. And I feel very sorry for them every time we get a substantial amount of revenue. I just feel for them. We get it after about 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain. But it sounds to me like a lot of this stuff can be resolved. Some of it probably not. But the Halifax Canal is some of the problem for everybody, including the Willow Run people, or I'm sorry, the other subdivision? Sleepy Hollow. Because a lot of that stuff from Public and everything flows that way.
And those are two different, like Halifax Canal is way up north, and then
No.
Sleepy Hollow is a different one?
Oak Street is the Halifax Canal. Am I calling it the right thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I got it.
Lance knows. I mean, he's been here for 170 years, well, his dad has. But what I'm saying is that that sounds like a lot of the problems for all of our areas, the Nixon Lane and the Sugar Mill and those folks.
Halifax Canal.
The canal.
Okay.
When it stops, okay, it stops and everybody stops,
Okay.
okay? They said that they had pumps, they could stop, close the weir, turn the pumps on, and these folks are gonna be fine. Everybody upstream is gonna be fine, and then South Daytona. All of their retention ponds, they start pumping millions of gallons into this canal, Nova Road Canal. And guess where it comes?
And that,
Millions of gallons, millions. The previous Public Works folks had meetings with them. Turn them off. You can't keep sending this water to us. It rains 10 inches and we get millions of gallons of water pumped into that. And probably Daytona does the same thing. I don't know. But it's all coming our way.
so I'm gonna,
That's
no, that's good. We wrote down Halifax now, and that brings up a good point that we kind of haven't really gotten into yet is pop quiz, all right? Do you think that, I'll get to you in 1 second. Do you think that water and hydrology cares about city boundaries? Okay.
No, but I think that
Well,
it's illegal, what
No,
they're
that's-
doing. They can't be pumping into that.
No, but what I'm talking about is, you know, you're absolutely right. We're talking about, you know, we're talking about issues within our city, but you bring up the next level of the point is we could spend billions of dollars only on our city. And then we could have this, where the water comes from upstream outside of our borders where we have no control and just have that water keep pumping in, we're pumping it out or putting it in a different place. So it brings up a good point that one of the things we need to look at is regional flooding issues. Because as a city alone, we probably can't fix the issue, right? Maybe if there's one water flow that just happens to be only in our city, yeah, maybe if there's one drainage basin.
Give me a backhoe in about an hour, and I'll fix the problem.
So regional drainage. Councilmember.
Yeah, I'm not here as a councilman, I'm here to represent my neighbors.
Okay.
Okay, and by the way, you're absolutely right. We have a series of canals down in the old part of Port Orange. The main ones run down into Rose Bay. On one side of US 1 is one that's been totally neglected, and that's leading to a considerable amount of flooding, and probably causing flooding as far as Dunlawton. All along there, if you go down there and look, it's all filled in now, which is one of the problems. So somehow, it was allowed over the last 20 or 30 years for that to be filled in. It's still being filled in, and it is a mess down there. Needs to be cleaned out. The areas never flooded until all this started and everyone was asleep at the switch. On the other side of US 1, between there and the river, our infrastructure is in total collapse. All the pipes are either rusted or dying. If you walk along the streets, you'll see depressions, okay? And that needs to be fixed. That is routine maintenance that wasn't done for the last 30 years, okay? And at the end of every pipe in Port Orange should be a valve that stops inflow from the ocean, okay? was supposed to be put in when Halifax Drive was redone for the sewer plant, for the sewer lines. Never was put in, left off. I saw it on the plans when they did it, and the plans were never followed, okay? Backflow preventers, they're called. You're absolutely right about the Halifax Canal until we get control. And by the way, there is plenty we can do. We could have put a berm in. It needs to be bermed, and it needs to be burned from the, as it comes into the city, all the way up. Now, at some point, we need to do something, and this is where it gets really expensive. As it gets past the post office, we can berm up to there. After there, we have to widen it significantly. And that's got a lot of problems because we got to go under roads and everything else. So there's a lot we need to do down there to do it. We need to get started on it. What I'm saying about this meeting, and I apologize in behalf of me, I've been screaming and yelling, but what happens is we sound like we're back at zero again. We should be much further ahead than we are now. I'm disgusted. But there's so much we need to do, and a lot of it can be done right now in small little bites. And we're not doing the small little bites.
We hit it. Put it on the
But
list
anyway,
and get it
all my
done.
neighbors, put on the list
Get it done.
the pipes out to the river, the natural drains, they're collapsing. We need to also, we're probably going to have to put some additional, and should be talking about, it's expensive, but within our purview, some additional cuts across US 1 so we can get better drainage on the other side. There's an oval on the other side, on the west side of US 1. We've got to get the water out. We got to get the natural canal system that used to run between Halifax Drive and US 1. That's what my neighbors were here to complain. You know, we have mosquito heaven there. I hate to hear, if Zika gets here, we'll be a key problem area because we have a swamp back there. You should have heard the frogs this morning.
I hear them every night.
So we got to do it. The other thing is, what is it called? McDaniel's? What is the one by the Chamber of Commerce?
Dougherty, right?
Hmm?
Dougherty.
Doherty Canal. The Doherty Canal is a key function and could help your neighborhood and all the rest because we have not been innovative with that. The Doherty Canal needs to be addressed. It's really blocked up. It's a mess. So there's a lot to be done. And we need to be about doing it. And, you know, and I hope our new engineer will go to work. It's not complex. It's hard because there's a lot needs to be done.